My name is Paige. I'm a 28-year-old. I work at an office as a clerk. I've just started working in this department, but I've been working in this company ever since I graduated from high school. My father passed away before I became old enough to remember, and my mother followed when I was 8 years old. Since then, I've been living with my aunt, so I wanted to become independent as soon as possible. My mother noticed something was wrong with her body, so she hurried to the hospital to get checked. The doctor diagnosed her with terminal cancer. She was the kind of person who never whined or complained, no matter what difficulties she encountered. This might be one of the reasons why cancer was not detected right away. However, despite her terminal cancer, my mother continued to work hard, doing her best not to show how much she's struggling inside. She works hard every day to raise me. I respected my mother, who was a powerful woman and unfazed by anything. At that time, I was very worried about her, but I felt frustrated that I couldn't do anything to help her. I'm home. You're already awake. Good morning, Paige. Mom, you went to work at night again? You shouldn't do that. More importantly, why are you drenched? Oh, nothing to worry about. I just bathed in the river. You bathed in the river? Mom, please take good care of your body. I'm sorry about that, Paige. All right, I should prepare breakfast now. No, Mom, you should pat yourself to dry immediately and get some sleep. But I bought this many ingredients, you see. You have school today, right, Paige? You should go get dressed for school. I think my mother cooked breakfast after that. I was immersed in the precious memories I had of my mother, but...
Hey, are you even listening to what I'm saying?
Huh? Yes. Oh my lord, I zoned out at work. I should focus. What was it?
Just as I thought, you weren't listening to me. Are your ears rotten? This is why you're no good. You hillbilly with an inferior education.
This man is my colleague, Alex. Apparently, he graduated from a famous private university, and he's the son of a wealthy family who has a house in Tribeca.
I've been telling you for a while that the one you've been working on, I'll take over that. Understood?
Huh? Wait a second. Again? This man intercepts my work at a stage where I'm almost ready to get a contract. I'm the newest member of this department, and Alex is the second newest member in this department. It seems like he thinks he can do just about whatever he wants and steal my work. Because I am in a lower position than him, and I have an inferior education compared to him. But I know that karma will eventually get to him. I believe that Alex will be punished for his actions someday. Only time will tell. Thinking that waste and leaving karma to do its job, I decided to just focus on the work I had in front of me. Then one day, the department head told me,
Ms. Page, can I ask you to do this job?
I was shocked when I looked at the materials that he handed me. What? Isn't this a very important job? But I'm the newest member of this department.
The president of this company, Mr. O'Brien, is a hard worker, and he's been through a lot. So he likes doing business with serious people like you. Besides, I trust you can do this, Paige.
Actually, the department head is the one who guided me when I first joined this company. I'm very happy to hear that he trusts me. Understood. Leave it to me. With that said, I was assigned to a very important job. It is difficult to do everything by myself, who is a newbie, so I was assigned to this job together with my senior at work. But unfortunately, that senior got into an accident and ended up at the hospital. So we immediately searched for a substitute, but it was a very important and huge project, so no one volunteered to do the job, except for one person.
Oh, that? I'll do that job.
What? You've got to be kidding me. I don't want to work with him.
Huh? But I might be the second newest member of this department after Paige, but I'm the one who got the most number of contracts, you know. Leave this project to me.
The department head looked like he wasn't sure whether to assign Alex with me or not. Maybe he was worried about two newbies taking on the job. The department head looked like he didn't trust Alex. However, no one else wanted to do that job with me. But he didn't say, "I don't care about Alex as long as you're doing the job, Paige." He really trusts me to do this job. As a result, Alex and I ended up being assigned to this project. Right after both of us were assigned, Alex told me,
The department head is very dumb for assigning a hillbilly with low educational background. Well, upon successful completion of the business meeting, I will steal the department head's position. By the way, don't intrude during the business meeting. Understood?
he uttered. I have seen Alex skipping work a lot of the time when his boss is not looking. If I rely on him to do the job, I'm sure the business meeting will not go well at all. This is why I didn't tell Alex anything, and I prepared the documents and materials for the business meeting. The day of the business meeting finally arrived. This is a very important moment for our company. The future of our company is in our hands. The company's fate? No. You could even say that it's a business meeting that would impact the rest of my working life. So, before I walked out the front door, I put on the wristwatch, a memento of my mother, which she was wearing until her last breath. I also wore this wristwatch on the day of my job interview, and thanks to this watch, I was able to calm my nerves down and ace the interview. Mom, please watch over me and wish me luck. Then, it was finally time for the long-awaited business meeting. Good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. O'Brien. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet.
Good morning.
I was about to shake hands with President O'Brien, but Alex butted in all of a sudden. I knew right away by the expression on Mr. O'Brien's face that he was put off by Alex. After that, I breathed a sigh and then shook hands with Mr. O'Brien.
Huh?
President O'Brien looked down all of a sudden and froze. I have no idea why. Is everything all right?
Huh? Oh, sorry about that.
I wonder what that was about. I got curious for a bit, but the business meeting started right away. However...
This product is,
I don't understand what he's saying. Alex told me not to intrude on him, so I kept quiet. But I didn't understand a thing from start to finish. Because of that, Mr. O'Brien grimaced. That is why I placed the materials I prepared for myself on the table. About that, if you could please take a look at these documents I've prepared for you. I started talking to explain about the product, but then...
Well, about those materials. I created them.
He then started to talk about what was written on the paper, as if he knew what he was talking about. However, he made several mistakes mentioning those that were not written, so I corrected him, but...
Hey, stop butting in! You're getting Mr. O'Brien confused.
What in the world are you thinking? You're the one getting him confused. You better brace yourself. Karma is just around the corner. However, a shocking revelation will be revealed after this. And just as predicted, Alex will go through a bitter experience after this. Now, we're in the middle of a very important business meeting. This is not the time to be showing negative feelings such as resentment and hatred. Reluctantly, I took it from my bag, the same materials that I showed Mr. O'Brien earlier, and I placed it on the table so Alex can see it.
You're so slow. Why didn't you take this out earlier? I'm sorry about that, Mr. Bryan. I will take full responsibility for this project, and I'm thinking of getting rid of this sloppy woman from this project, so, huh?
Looking at Mr. O'Brien, Alex and I stared blankly, because all of a sudden, Mr. O'Brien opened his eyes wide and started shaking. Mr. O'Brien came closer and asked,
Where did you get that wristwatch?
Huh?
Where did you get it from?
Huh? Oh, this wristwatch. This is actually a memento of my mother, who passed away 20 years ago. When I responded to him, Mr. O'Brien slumped and drooped his head.
I can't believe this is happening. Really? So Mrs. Penny passed away right after that?
Wait a second. Why does Mr. O'Brien know my mother's name? Could it be that you know my mother?
Yes. I never thought that I would be able to meet her daughter. Mrs. Penny saved my life.
What? She saved your life?
I was homeless, living under a bridge when I met her. I was working in an exploitative enterprise at that time to repay the debt that my deceased parents owed. I was harassed by the senior staff at work. I had a mental breakdown.
What? I remembered that time my mother came home dripping wet. So that was the reason why she came home in that state?
Since then, Mrs. Penny kept on visiting me and brought food for me. At first, I talked volubly to Mrs. Penny and I told her to leave me alone. But she always smiled at me despite that. Then after a while, I started to think that I'm blessed to have someone hope for me to live. That's when I realized that I should live and that I wanted to live. That wristwatch is a custom-made wristwatch that I gave to Mrs. Penny as a gift to thank her for everything she has done for me. When I finally found a place to work with food and board, I ordered that when I was young and I just started working at a new company. I had nothing else that I could give her to show my gratitude. However, after I gave her the wristwatch, Mrs. Penny collapsed all of a sudden and...
That's when Mr. O'Brien's voice started shaking.
I asked for people to help me, but no one would listen to me because of how I was dressed, dirty. When I went back to Mrs. Penny shortly thereafter, there was a crowd of people and the ambulance took her to the hospital. So I asked the people which hospital she was taken to, but nobody told me because I looked shabby. I then tried searching for the hospital that Mrs. Penny might be admitted to, but I never found where she was.
A few hours after my mother was taken to the hospital, she went to heaven. That's why you couldn't find her, no matter how hard you searched.
That's when I realized that maybe Mrs. Page had an illness ever since the day I met her. Because the day when I jumped into the river, she scolded me a lot. In tears, she asked me what was I thinking. She continued saying that as long as I'm alive, I'll be able to manage somehow. She told me that I can start over as many times as I want. But then I shouted at her, "You have no idea what I'm going through." I still haven't apologized to her about that.
Tears ran down Mr. O'Brien's cheeks.
I'm sorry for being emotional during a business meeting. These materials that you've prepared are very easy to understand. I would like to consider this in a positive direction.
Mr. O'Brien said and smiled at me. However, Alex has been looking back and forth to me and Mr. O'Brien saying, "Huh?" while the president told his story. Alex then stood up and started talking.
I don't understand what you're talking about, but I guess we got ourselves a contract.
He then leaned into the president and gestured to shake hands. However...
What? Huh? I only said that I would consider this in a positive direction. Also, I would like to talk about this project excluding you. What? I don't understand what you've been saying the whole time. What? You're exactly like the senior staff that I used to work with, who kept on harassing me. I can tell that you're the kind of person who takes credit for someone else's work and looks down on someone without knowing what they're going through. I hate to say this, but I can tell just by looking at you.
Alex was attacked by the president, so he turned pale and cried. Then after that, inside the taxi on our way back to the office.
I got preached at by Mr. O'Brien because of you. This is why I told you so many times not to butt in.
He barked at me like a dog. However, the moment Alex and I stepped into the office...
Alex, what in the world have you done?
The department head scolded him, so Alex let out a small cry.
I heard everything from President O'Brien about what you did at the business meeting. I'll have to remove you from this project. What? But no, wait a second, boss.
Alex then stood up and ran towards the department head.
No, it's all a misunderstanding. Paige sidetracked me at weird times, making President O'Brien bewildered and confused.
However...
You know what President O'Brien told me? If Paige wasn't there, he would be done with the business meeting in 1 minute and turn away from the project.
The department head rolled his eyes and gave a sharp look.
As for you, Paige, President O'Brien praised the materials you prepared. He told me that he would like you to go alone, Paige, to further discuss the project. This is a huge project. Do you think you'll be fine by yourself?
Yes. I'm honored to take this project.
All right then. I'm counting on you. What? Wait, why?
Alex started crying and he pointed a finger at me. He seems to appeal to the department head.
But she's the newest member of this department. She also has the lowest level of performance. Right, she has the lowest level of performance because you've been stealing her work. If not for that, she would have been the top performer of this department. What? I received a complaint from a client that they want Paige to be in charge of this project, not you. Recently, the number of clients who are complaining because of you is getting higher by the day. Also, I investigated a bit about you. You went skipping work when you were working outside the office. You know that this company can't afford to hire people who behave like you. Wait, are you saying that I'm fired? I told the president everything that happened, but you better brace yourself, for the president will make the decision. Oh no!
Out of shock, Alex collapsed and cried. This is not what was supposed to happen! After that, the company president decided to fire him. Alex was then investigated after that, and they found out that he had done illegal things. I heard that he looked for a new job after he got fired. But unfortunately for him, there was a pandemic, so there were no companies willing to hire more employees. He now lives in a tiny, shabby apartment with no washer and dryer. He borrowed money from an unscrupulous finance company. He was raised in a wealthy household, and he still has a habit of spending a lot of money. So he mindlessly used up all of the money he borrowed. He ended up getting evicted from his apartment because he couldn't pay for rent anymore. Rumors say that he has been chased around the city by scary-looking men. Apparently, Alex is actually disowned by his parents. In order to get back at his parents who disowned him, he planned to improve his performance at the company and eventually become a very successful businessman. But that dream never came to fruition. He intercepted the projects of his colleagues, thinking that he can easily get ahead without much effort on his part. He even kept on conducting unfair practices, so I think he deserves what he got. Now as for me, the business negotiation was successful after that huge hurdle. I'm busier than ever now, but I'm living a very fulfilling life. That evil project thief is not around anymore after all. And oh, by the way, after President O'Brien and I talked about work...
Ms. Page, if it's all right with you, is it okay if I visit the grave of Mrs. Penny?
Huh? Oh, yes, of course.
But do you think she'll be fine if I visit her? Don't you think I'll be a bother?
Huh? A bother? Why do you think that?
Because ever since I met Mrs. Penny, all I did was say bad things to her.
President O'Brien, I think my mother will be very happy to hear that you're alive and kicking and doing very well in life.
Mrs. Page.
Because my mother wanted you to continue living and someday find your happiness. Isn't that why she kept on visiting you? Please visit her grave and show her your happy and healthy self. I'm sure my mother will be very happy to see you.
Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more!